The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Vice President Leni Robredo on Friday buried her senatorial slate with the 12th pick still being under deliberation. Former Bayan Muna representative and senatorial aspirant Enrique Colmenares is among those being considered for the final spot. He's joining us this afternoon. Again, we have Attorney Colmenares himself via Zoom. Sir, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Riza. Good afternoon to your viewers.
Sir, thank you for joining us first and foremost. We'd like to get your immediate reaction upon when Vice President Robredo announced her senatorial slate.
Well, Riza, I recognize the fact that it's the prerogative of the vice president, being the presidential candidate, to choose her own senatorial slate. So I guess she felt that it is to the interest of her candidacy not to include me as of now, at least. So that's her right. So I guess I have to respect that right of the vice president being the presidential candidate of the opposition. So
Mhm,
yeah, it's her choice.
Sure, but were you expecting to be included?
Well, we were hoping to be included, of course, and we just wanted to discuss with the vice president the platforms first, of course, because the issue of platform is very important for Makabayan. The inclusion in the slate is, of course, half of the battle, so to speak. But it's not merely about what's in it for me. It's also an issue of what's in it for the people. Our constituents in Makabayan are the farmers, the workers, the urban poor, and the indigenous people, and so on. And they would really like to know the platform of the vice president in her presidential run, or any other presidential candidate for that matter. So that's very important for us. And since we haven't had the chance to discuss with the vice president issues of platform of Makabayan and the platform of the vice president, so that we can at least find commonalities in the platform. We are not absolutists naman that all of our platform will be, she would agree to that. Otherwise, makabayan na lang siya, no? But at least we can have a sit down and discuss it. And that didn't happen. So I
Mhm,
guess that's one of the reasons probably that we probably need to talk first with
mhm.
her regarding that platform.
So, sir, just to clarify, attorney, there are no talks yet as of today between you and the camp of Vice President Leni Robredo.
Well, there had been talks before that, and they informed me, representatives of the vice president informed me that I'm being considered, and that but there are some objections
Mhm,
from some quarters in her slate, so they're still trying to probably to resolve that.
mhm.
So, but then probably they weren't able to resolve that. That's why I wasn't included when she announced her senatorial slate yesterday. Yesterday, yes.
So, sir, do you have any idea on perhaps when they would have that final confirmation, that announcement on that last slot?
But I wouldn't know, Risa, actually, because of course it's their, as I mentioned, it's their prerogative, and they can select from among any of those they feel should be in the slate. For us in Makabayan, while it is very important to be part of the presidential slate, um, if of course if there's no presidential candidate who will discuss platform or select us for the slate, we will still campaign against President Duterte and the Marcoses, of course. Makabayan has 3.5 million members all over the country because of our party list groups. We have a national machinery, a national campaign machinery of dedicated activists and individuals. These are not paid campaigners, so they did really very working hard during the campaign period. And of course, social media being one of the more important aspects of this coming election. Our hundreds of thousands of members all over the country can also be a powerful social media force. At the same
Mhm,
time, we have trained poll watchers. So all of this machinery and our support, we will throw against the candidates of President Duterte and the Marcoses. So we will still be in the campaign. We will make sure that the opposition wins. in 2022 and the administration loses in 2022.
Mhm. Attorney, with that being said, are you in the liberty to tell us on who are, or rather, who among the aspirants, the presidential aspirants, will the Makabayan bloc be endorsing in the upcoming polls?
But before Vice President Lenny announced her candidacy, the presidential teams, campaign teams, of course, have discussed matters with us. And we're very grateful with that because that is a consideration also of the strength and the credibility of Makabayan to be part of the talks with other presidential candidates. So we've had talks already with Mayor Isko and Senator Manny Pacquiao with regards to platforms, and they've discussed their platform. They haven't given us their written platform yet, but more or less they gave us an idea of what they will do when they become president. And the only remaining candidate as of now that we haven't spoken with is the vice president. And we hope, because she did mention that the 12th slot is still open and talks are ongoing, that we will be able to discuss with her certain issues. You see, very important sa amin, what is your position on contractualization, for example? What is your position on agrarian reform, land reform, lands for the farmers? Issues on the West Philippine Sea, for example, accountability of those human rights violators, and issues on the ICC, for example. All these form part of our platform, and we would like to know the position of the presidential candidates. So we've spoken to the Senator Maninga and Mayor Isko on this issue. So we need kasi to settle this issue of platform, because when we go to our constituents, the farmers, the workers, and so on, we need to tell them also. We cannot just order them and say, you campaign for this candidate. They will also ask what's in it for the Filipino people. So we need to tell them, oh, this presidential candidate agrees with land reform, for example, agrees that we should stop this policy of kowtowing to China and have the marine resources, the West Philippine Sea, given to the Filipino people. So all these things gel into that. That's why crucial sa amin yun. And we've managed to speak with almost three of the presidential candidates, except that in the case of VP Robredo, we were able to talk to her representatives. We haven't yet sat down with her formally to discuss her platform.
Attorney, you mentioned earlier yung kakayanan nga po na Makabayan bloc sa paparating na kampanya. But your inclusion, or let's say exclusion, in the senatorial slate of Vice President Robredo, will this be of any effect?
Definitely, all these factors, the slate, the platform, the issues that we can have commonalities with, all these, and of course the reciprocity, the mutual support, and all this stuff will play a large part in the decision of Makabayan. So just like any other political party, it's very important for us. It's difficult for us, just like like any other candidate na na-include na ako sa slate, so okay na ako. It's not merely an issue, sabi ko nga, what's in it for me, but it's also on what is it for the Filipino people, what is in it for them. Kaya yun lang naman ang isang hinihingi. And I think it's very reasonable. It's not unreasonable for a political party to discuss with any presidential candidate or even senatorial or even local candidates. Kasi you see, issue ito ng platforms dapat, issue ito ng anong mga posisyon mo sa bagay-bagay. If candidates will not say their platform or the issues, their stand, so ang eleksyon, magiging batayan na lang dyan. Sinong gwapo? Sino ang mga artista, o sino yung magaling, di ba? Marte or whatever. So kung pagwapuhan na lang yan, Risa, di talo na ako doon. Wala na akong laban doon. But the issue of platform is very important. So all these things will matter in our decision.
Attorney, final question. Will you be open to, let's say, teaming up with other presidential aspirants tulad na lang po niya, Senator Manny Pacquiao or perhaps kay Calio de Guzman?
All the presidential candidates, as long as they're opposing President Duterte and the Marcoses, we would be happy to talk with them with regards platforms and issues and so on. As I mentioned, that's very important for us. So, but as long as we will not talk, of course, to the Duterte and the Marcoses. That is the boundary there. As long as you are a candidate against the Marcoses and the Dutertes, we will talk with you, and hopefully they would also talk with us.
Well, Attorney Colmenares, we'd like to thank you for sharing with us your time and your insights this afternoon. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat din po.
That's senatorial aspirant Nery Colmenares. Meanwhile, senatorial candidate and Federation of Free Workers President Assani Batula says he will be proud if Vice President Leni Robredo chooses him to complete her Senate slate. Speaking to us earlier here, Batula said that if chosen, he will represent the middle class and marginalized Filipinos. He also said he hopes that whoever the vice president chooses will become a representative for Filipino laborers.
I will be proud to represent the sector if chosen by the vice president. I think the middle forces needs representation in the Senate slate of the vice president, and that is a big part of our population. And we need to expand the middle class in this country.
Batula also said his campaign will focus more on a labor agenda, which will include a change in the national minimum wage and a push to uphold workers' rights.
We are discussing with the Vice President the labor agenda last week. The agenda includes the issue on contractualization, public employment, guaranteed health for all, and then impunity on those being killed, exercising the right to self-organization. Wages need to change the wage rationalization law, and it needs legislative action.
So in other news, several businesses have started to reopen as the Alert Level 3 status in Metro Manila began today. Marlene Alcaide has the story.
After months of closure, this spa in Quezon City is finally allowed to operate again. Employees of the spa are now gearing up to welcome their customers. They are also happy with the easing of restrictions as they can now go back to work.
Tuwan-tuwa po kami kasi nagkaroon na kami ng trabaho. Hindi na kami na-stress sa bahay.
The spa vows to ensure that health protocols will be strictly followed in their premises. Patrons cannot do walk-ins just yet as they need to set up an appointment first. Additionally, only fully vaccinated customers are allowed for the safety of the employees as well as other clients.
Sa ngayon po kasi nag-a-accept lang kami ng mga may vaccine card. Hindi rin naman kami nag-a-accept ng sobrang daming client. More on appointment.
Billiard parlors are also allowed to reopen under Alert Level 3. These establishments can cater up to 30% of their maximum capacity indoors, while 50% capacity is allowed outdoors. Gym owners are also pleased with the development, hoping that their businesses will recover soon.
Malaki yung tama sa amin ng pandemic kasi tingnan yung pwesto ko ngayon, di ba? Dati high-end yung pwesto ko, kumbaga 2 floor, commercial rate, kumbaga maganda talagang kumbaga presentable. Pero ngayon, nagtitiis kami ganito.
However, only a limited number of customers will be allowed, and this is expected to result in lesser income for them.
Ang pumapasok sa gym nung hindi pa nila nire-required, mga 5, ganun, 5. Konting-konti talaga. Halos wala talaga. Minsan wala pa nga.
As Metro Manila shifts to Alert Level 3, many businesses are hoping that cases will continue to decrease so people can go back to their pre-pandemic life. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Tropical cyclone Maring's damage to agriculture reaches 1.2 billion pesos with 42,000 farmers and fishermen affected. In today's Laging Handa briefing, the Agriculture Department vowed to provide financial assistance to the affected sectors of society. DA Assistant Secretary Cristina Evangelista said they will provide zero interest and insurance loans for farmers and fishermen. Evangelista added that they are now asking retailers not to raise the price of vegetables.
As our quick response po, meron po tayong mga binhi na ibibigay sa kanila para sa rice, sa corn. Umaabot po yan sa mga 168,000 po para matulungan sila sa pagtanim nila, no? Para pag ready na ang lupa, makapagtanim sila muli.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The COMELEC extends voter registration hours in select areas, including Metro Manila. Starting today, weekday registration will be from 8 in the morning till 7 p.m. Some COMELEC offices and mall registration sites will also open on Saturdays from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m. The last day of voter registration is on October 30. The country drops 11 places in the Rule of Law Index ranking of the World Justice Project. From placing 91st out of 128 countries last year, the country slides to 102nd out of 139 countries this year. Now, this index measures a country's adherence to the rule of law based on 8 indicators. These include the absence of corruption, fundamental rights, order and security, and as well as civil and criminal justice. And Tokyo 2020 Olympics gold medalist Heidelin Diaz is now engaged with her boyfriend and conditioning coach Julius Naranjo. In her Instagram post, Diaz called his boyfriend's proposal a magical moment. Naranjo is a Filipino-Japanese weightlifter who represented Guam in the 2017 Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games in Turkmenistan. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.